Fuck! Oh, man. Best game of the year for the Game Awards? Oh, they didn't even get a Game of the Year, and still... and still lost awards on the nominations. Alright. And before we start anything, the annoying part.
You can't escape me!
Ko-Fi, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. If you'd like to support my work, then you can just donate over there. Patreon and YouTube do subscription-based, where YouTube does emotes for your liking. Ko-Fi gives you a donation and subscription option with the price that you want to set up. And also give me your money. All of them at 5 USD to keep it consistent. Your name will be at the end of my videos as an end credit, and it's to show you support and for me to say thank you for your support. And if you donate, that's fine.
Your mom isn't safe anymore.
Thank you so much for watching, even though you skipped it.
Cringe!
And let's get back to the video.
Say the line, Bart!
I was fucking right. And it didn't even matter how much dislikes I got.
Yeah, buddy! Wait!
How much I got shit on in the comments of those 2 specific videos, because in the end, it doesn't matter. I stood my ground, I knew what was gonna happen, and fuck you.
Hey, Wendy, you're a bitch. Token right here, buddy.
Not only the game fell off after 3 months, which I was generous, but the game fell off just in about a month, which was pretty funny.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
And people who said the game is amazing and it's so masculine and all that, they're no longer playing it. And it's most likely the comments that I had on those videos as well. They're probably no longer playing it. I wonder why.
You are made of stupid.
And most likely, the most famous British YouTuber Valrak. Just like he said he was going for a diet, he got bored and moved on to something else.
Let me get off my car before you flip it over, you fat fuck.
Look at that curve. Damn!
And look at the DLCs. Every single DLC is either mixed or just negative reviews. Yeah, I wonder why.
Stupid.
It's a live service game and not doing the traditional live service. Oh, I wonder who does that very similar. Fat Shark.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
You know, the whole idea about, like, DLCs, cosmetics, or expansions is meant to, like, up the numbers just a bit, or just to make the players come back to play a little bit longer. Look at this graph. There isn't a single bump that is so massive that it brought players back. It did the exact opposite. If you haven't watched my 2 other videos, I'll summarize, you lazy fuck.
Go find a fucking job, you fucking sausage roll looking twat!
Campaign, characters, and story, dog shit. Gameplay was acceptably good, with some minor issues. But then again, as you progress through the campaign, it did become a little bit boring. Then again, I did play the game in the hardest difficulty, so it was a little bit different for me than people who were playing it on normal. Multiplayer and co-op was alright.
I mean, it's alright.
But there were some issues, like, for example, like the Chaos Space Marines the same height as a Primaris. What the fuck? And Chaos Marines not getting much of cosmetics when it comes to it, and it's still the Space Marines getting cosmetics. Cringe. And as I said before, they're nothing but extensions of the campaign. But even with them, they do lack a bit of content and a bit of more expansions for you to keep going playing the game. And not only that, the most annoying part that I figured out is that multiplayer had regeneration, but it wasn't the same thing across the board. Space Marine 1, at the very least, had a consistent setup when it came to the gameplay and mechanics. The only thing they didn't do, at least in co-op, is the executions, which in Space Marine 2 does. But when it comes to health bars, everywhere was specifically consistent, so everybody knew how to play Space Marine. Because in Space Marine 1, technically, back in the old days, I feel old. Hey! Like, just very similar when it came to COD, maybe with Space Marine 2 or any other games, maybe like Gears of War. Mainly, they released games that was focused on single player first, and then multiplayer later. Unless you're like Halo that focused more on multiplayer, but whatever, different story. But if you wanted to check these videos in full detail, just check them in the links on the description. And I must warn you, it is fully brain rotted. So I will see, and I will expect that you guys come back with comments and you will speak like so I forgive you. Now, let's just say, as a theoretical, what realistically would have happened with Space Marine 2? Well, first off, Space Marine 2 shouldn't be live service. It should have been just like how Space Marine 1 did. It should have been a single player experience only, a one-time game, and if people wanted to come back and play it again, they can do that. That's partly the reason why Space Marine 1 was still technically popular. Not because of multiplayer, not because of the mods or whatever, which that is partly of it. But I think mainly when it comes to the Space Marine, you play the game and you enjoy it for what it is. For some, like for the hardcore 40k fans. Obviously for the average Joe, they don't know what the fuck is going on, they just see a big dude with armor that just hits hard. Multiplayer and co-op is just an extension, just like in the original. Now, but specifically when it comes to cosmetics and DLCs, they have to be worth of your money. Space Marine 1 made the skins very unique for each chapter. And because they are unique, and they were good for their price, and then they're actually more valid for you to buy it. But when it comes to these DLCs in Space Marine 2, these are just reskins. These are just like different colors. They're not unique, they're not having their own flavor, they don't have their own taste. It's just there. I mean, if you wanted something like a different color, whatever, just fit your like chapter or whatever, you can already do that with Dawn of War 2 or Dawn of War. No need to pay money for something that you can do something for free in another game. And obviously when the game, either survives its lifespan or developers are not supporting it, even from the start of launch, maybe it's mod support. I know some people don't care about mods, probably me specifically, I don't heavily get into it unless it's just Call of Duty Zombies when they have very cool maps. But other than that, that's the extension of it. Because in the end, Space Marine isn't built like what Space Marine's trying to do. It's very weird because Saber tried to morph whatever was from the old game and add to new tech and almost trying to do a similar thing but make it a live service, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And mainly, what's important is that Space Marine 2, what it should have been, is about Space Marines. Not Primaris, they are not Space Marines. This would have removed the headache about the same height, the weapons, the customizations and all that. It would have made it so much easier when it came to production time, setting up like the logistics of how to set it up. Sometimes some of them might be a bit more symmetrical, but in the end, it actually has their own unique style and all that. You can add more customization for the player's free choice to add things that they want to. Then again, when it comes to games of today, we can't have that anymore. If you used to play Black Ops 2 with custom like pictures that you made, oh boy, it was quite something. And when it comes to the story, I would have tweaked it just a bit, where Titus dies. The reason I say that is because it adds drama, it adds stakes, it makes the universe a bit more grim dark, and not only that, Titus might have died in before the Primaris Rubicon. So you don't have an excuse that, this Space Marine was in fatal wounds and instead of putting him in the Dreadnought, they just put him in Primaris. Either one of them. But I think it is better to have an end story of a character than just having him alive for so long to the point that you don't really mean nothing. A good example of that is Abaddon. Abaddon used to be very scary when it came to Horus Heresy. He had this warrior vibe and all that. And then later on, it started to become less and less of him being a massive threat to the Imperium than him being a villain character. He just appears and then just disappears afterwards.
I will get you yet, samurai!
Then again, GW wouldn't kill Titus because it's about selling models and gay flags. What do you expect?
It's not about the money, it's about sending a message.
And for those people who still think that Space Marine 2 is the most masculine game ever, or it is the best game that I've ever tried, first off, you definitely didn't play any of the old games that were actually at their peak, or didn't even bother emulate a game on a ROM for you to play in the first place. And let me tell you, it is not masculine. Because first, woke right up. 2, Space Marines, the way they act, they're like high school girls in World War II setting. And third, Sarkana. What is there to be said? All these details, even though they're a bit more subtle, but most people don't see it as a problem. Then again, there's more new players than 40k players, and most of them don't even care about lore and accuracy. Or, if there is 40k players and say the same shit, you're a fucking idiot. And in the end, it's all about memes and le funny. That's what 40K is at this point. It's about memes and funnies. It's not about the seriousness, the grim dark, the serious setting where things need to be having stakes and death and all that. Nah, it has to be Space Marine can just split a planet by his clap cheeks. That is it for this video. Check my donations page if you want to support my channel, and you can check my Discord and YouTube's community page for any updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, my brothers, and take care.
Rise up in the morning sun.